We certainly don't envy the presenters in these situations. Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most heated interviews and arguments on this morning. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at interviews that got a little out of hand, whether this was because the topic was especially controversial or simply because the guests were so opinionated. Number 10. Topless sunbathing. Sonia Poulton and Shona Sibbery came to talk to Eamon and Ruth about whether women should be able to sunbathe topless around children, and both had very strong opinions on the matter.
That is not the debate. That is not the debate. No. Let's stick with the debate. Let's stick with the debate.
And the debate is sex.
No. The debate is simple.
Poulton is a passionate supporter of women having all the same freedoms as men, while Sibbery thinks that it has no place at family resorts, and if women want to do so, they should go elsewhere to avoid making others uncomfortable.
Because it's all about respecting other people's dignity and modesty. Now, if we don't have these lines and boundaries in society, we would all do exactly what we wanted all the time.
Right.
And obviously we can't do that.
They're shouting all the way through this segment, and Eamon and Ruth can hardly get a word in. Sibbery even challenges Poulton to take off her clothes on the show to make her point.
This is a family show. Take your top off now and show your
Don't be
boobs.
ridiculous.
Exactly. Don't be ridiculous.
Number 9. Lazy housewives. After a Mumsnet post questioning what housewives spend their days doing went viral, Rebecca Jane and Kerry Whelpdale, both mums of 2, came on the show to share their opposing viewpoints.
I don't think that being a housewife is a career option once your children have gone to school.
Jane doesn't think that being a housewife is a valid career option anymore, while Whelpdale thinks that women can make whatever choice they want, and there's no problem with being a homemaker.
What do you do? Once I have done everything that I need to do at home, if I've got time, I'll go meet my friends for a coffee.
The debate gets very intense, with accusations flying about housewives being lazy for spending their days cooking and cleaning rather than going to work, and about whether it's more selfish to continue working without looking after the home. They can't agree on anything.
There is a certain type of person who exploits that choice and uses it as an opportunity to stay at home all day and calls it a career option.
Absolutely
and it is
not.
Number 8. Noel Edmonds. When he implied on social media that a man's cancer was caused by his negative energy, Noel Edmonds was criticised by many, including Philip Schofield, when he was brought on to defend his views.
You said, is it possible your ill health is caused by your negative attitude?
And that's to a man who's got cancer.
Yes.
Just, if anything, it's insensitive.
While optimism and positive thinking isn't a bad thing, Edmonds doesn't even admit that his tweets suggests negative attitudes can cause diseases, even when it's up on the screen and says exactly that.
All I did was ask of the person you're referring to a question. I've never said negative thinking causes cancer, so your promo is wrong, and I object to that.
He even stuck to his guns when Dr. Ranj came on to debunk his claim, continuing to say that his positive energy is what helped him overcome prostate cancer. Rumour has it that Edmonds hasn't seen eye to eye with Phil and Holly since.
I agree. We don't understand energy. That's why we've got quantum physics.
Number 7. Liposuction crowdfunding. When the public found out that 27-year-old Sam Barton was raising money on a crowdfunding site for liposuction, many people came out to voice their opinions, including journalist Anna May Mangan.
So what have you got to say about this?
It's nothing else but online begging. That's all it is. And also, have you ever considered doing something to earn people's contributions?
Barton chatted to Eamon and Ruth about how he initially only asked family and friends to contribute to the page if they wanted to, though it is open to the public. But Mangan wasn't having any of it, accusing Barton of begging and pickpocketing people.
I mean, he's not actually taking...
No, because some people are very gullible and they'll give their money just because somebody asks.
Though most thought that if people wanted to donate, then they should be able to, especially since it wasn't misleading anybody about what the funds were for, Mangan could barely contain her outrage.
So you've got money, you've got a job, and yet you still think it's okay to ask people to pay for something?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I don't.
Okay, what's next, a car?
If I might set one up.
Okay.
It's a good idea.
Number 6. Earrings on children. Ear piercings are incredibly common, but the debate around what the appropriate age to get one is rages on.
They're slamming needles into their ears, 12 and 18-inch gauge needles. We don't need to do that. Our children are beautiful enough.
In 2018, Philip and Holly interviewed Ali Einstein and Raj Gill. Einstein believes that piercing ears under the age of 10 is morally abominable, while Gill says since there's no danger to the child, it should be done at the parent's discretion. Einstein was particularly militant, even comparing ear piercings to FGM and claiming piercing children's ears is child abuse, despite Gill arguing that it can be a bonding experience and is traditional in many cultures.
I have my ears pierced. You know, my mother, it's part of our culture, you know, it's a huge thing. We go out and buy jewellery together.
Only one thing becomes clear throughout this interview. These two will not come to a compromise.
83% of the world's population have their ears pierced.
Yes, and 75% of the British population want it banned.
Number 5. Veganuary. Controversial vegan activist Joey Armstrong returned to the sofa for an item about Veganuary, sharing his opinions with game hunter Rachel Carey. Armstrong is staunch in his views and won't let Carey make a point without interrupting, turning what could have been an enlightening debate into a row.
We have really hard-working British farmers. The UK actually has some of the highest animal welfare standards in the world.
That is nonsense.
Carey tries to stress that she's also opposed to factory farming and thinks it's possible to eat meat ethically and sustainably, while Armstrong shouts over everybody who tries to keep things measured.
And to feed vegans.
You seem very angry about this.
It's
Yes,
the earth is being destroyed,
like
animals are being
It's almost
abused.
like you can't hear the opposing view.
Because it's nonsense.
Ruth and Eamon try to get them to listen to the opposing viewpoint to no avail, and the debate only gets more and more intense.
Surely you would support biodiversity.
I don't support shooting deer in the head.
Number 4. Non-binary debate. In 2017, Highgate School, a private school in London, introduced gender-neutral uniforms, allowing boys to wear skirts. Despite this being completely their choice, many people had strong opinions on whether it was necessary.
This as well. And I mean, you can chuckle as much as you like, but as a parent, you know, you might not appreciate.
Trans activist Paris Lees came on this morning to voice her support of the change, while Angela Epstein claimed the school was encouraging children to question their identity.
And what I think is even worse is for the school to sort of actively take on this value and promote it to children without any kind of responsibility. I think it's a real dereliction of duty.
Epstein lost most of her credibility when she also said she doesn't think girls should be allowed to wear trousers in school, and refused to let Lee speak about her own experience with bigotry and bullying growing up.
I'm not denying that there are people that were in your situation.
Excuse me, no, it's my turn to speak now.
I know that, but I'm not denying that.
Well, OK, so you're appalled.
Number 3. Benefits mum, Cheryl Prudham. Nicknamed Britain's most shameless mum, Cheryl Prudham came on This Morning in 2016 to plead her case, when it was reported she was raking in £40,000 a year in benefits for her 12 children.
So if I can have another child and the government's allowing me to do that, I'm going to do that.
While Prudham stressed that she wasn't claiming fraudulently, and she was technically entitled to everything the government gave her, Holly and Phil were quick to point out that she splashes the cash on luxury items like holidays abroad, designer brands, and cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, I could save up for cosmetic surgery.
Which obviously that would come off the
Obviously,
benefits,
yeah.
and the people who are contributing to the sort of welfare state would be paying for your cosmetic surgery.
Holly asks her how she can sleep at night without feeling guilty for taking that money from worthier causes. But Prudham has no remorse.
Do you think about that a little bit?
Not really, no. I think about my kids and my family and that's it.
Number 2. Kim Woodburn. After a fiery stint on Celebrity Big Brother in 2017, Kim Woodburn came on the show to defend her ongoing feud with Colleen Nolan and constant fighting in the house, including a moment when she had to be removed by security. Holly and Phil ask her why it was the housemates didn't take to her, and she reiterates that her bad attitude had nothing to do with it. it was only because she was a late entry.
Well, when you go in late, apparently, it's been said to me, when you go in very late, you're in for a bit of a wallop anyway, because lateness, they don't like that.
She also makes it clear that she only put up with it for the money.
Why should I lose a massive sum of money for those bums?
While it's fair enough that Phil wasn't there to see everything that happened, Kim doesn't exactly help her case by attacking the presenters.
Don't mess with me.
I wouldn't.
I'm terrified. I don't think you're going to bully me.
Before we unveil our topic, here's some honourable mentions.
It took me about 3 minutes last night to continually find a list of the same names. I have those names there. Those are the names on a piece of paper. You know the names on that piece of paper.
This was before I was ever in the public eye. I never
it doesn't
thought...
matter,
well,
does it? I mean, your
doesn't
choice
matter.
of language, whether you were in the public eye or whether you were just a human being.
No. But what happened to the main man himself, Mr. James Van Der Beek? Well, he's here now, and that's what he looks like. You see?
I have been on television the last 20 years.
Yeah, we know.
I'll let you know.
We know.
Number 1, Katie Hopkins. One of the most infamous encounters to take place on the This Morning sofa saw Katie Hopkins come on to defend her practice of choosing who her kids can play with based on their names.
A name for me is a shortcut. It's a really efficient way of working out what class that child comes from. Do I want my children to play with them?
Hopkins claims that you can tell whether a child is working class depending on what they're called, which Holly and Phil take issue with. You can't judge a book by its cover, after all.
You don't see that as being
All together, ladies. You're all talking
Sorry,
together.
I can't help but get involved.
The argument moves on to Katie's gripes with certain names in general, including her disdain for geographical names like Brooklyn. And Philip notoriously pointed out that her own daughter is named India, which she says isn't a place.
Oh, so Brooklyn or London.
Your child's called India?
Yes, but you know, it's...
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.